A software provider enters a fourth quarter renewal expecting a clean margin story. AI has reduced the labor required to produce reports and answer routine questions. Delivery is faster. Volume has risen without matching headcount growth. Then procurement asks, if the work now requires fewer hours, why should the price remain unchanged? Within one meeting, an operating improvement becomes a pricing concession. The cost has fallen. Whether the supplier keeps the difference will be decided at renewal. This is the pressure inside pricing transparency. AI can lower the cost of an output while making that cost easier for customers to infer. Buyers do not need the supplier's internal ledger. They need evidence that the old price depended on labor intensity, scarcity, or process complexity, now declining. Once several vendors make the same automation claim, it stops supporting a premium. It becomes evidence that the category should cost less. In US enterprise markets, quarterly budget scrutiny pushes procurement to convert visible efficiency into lower contract value. A supplier sees operating leverage. The buyer sees a reason to reopen the unit price. The renewal determines who captures the gain. Picture three lines: price, visible delivery cost, and buried fixed burden. AI lowers the second line. Procurement lowers the first. The third barely moves. That cost-price structure explains why apparent efficiency can compress profitability. Visible production cost falls first. Legacy systems, integration staff, human review, infrastructure, and management overhead remain. If price moves down faster than those burdens can be removed, the supplier becomes more efficient while earning less on each contract. Transparency does not require published cost data. It can emerge through faster turnaround, standardized outputs, smaller delivery teams, or sales claims built around automation. Each signal narrows uncertainty about production economics. Proprietary data and difficult integrations may support pricing, but only for the part of the offer the customer believes remains scarce. The rest is negotiable. The effect is strongest where outputs are comparable and switching appears credible. If two providers produce a similar service response, buyers can benchmark price against the apparent cost of automated production. Quality and accountability still matter, but only for outcomes the customer cannot reproduce cheaply. Cost improvement appears before pricing pressure is fully visible. A firm automates delivery, keeps contract prices stable, and reports stronger gross margin. For a quarter or two, the economics appear attractive. Then renewals arrive. Competitors pass through savings. New entrants quote against a lower cost base. Sales teams discount to protect volume. What looked structural proves to be a temporary spread between cost reduction and price adjustment. Pricing adjusts with delay. The P&L records the benefit before the market claims its share. High pilot volume can deepen the illusion. Pilots often rely on shared engineering, unallocated review labor, and existing infrastructure. Their margin appears attractive because much of the fixed burden is excluded from the pilot economics. Once the offer becomes standard, customers ask for broader usage, more support, and lower prices. What looks variable to the customer often behaves like fixed cost to the supplier. This is where the initial margin story narrows. The system lowers labor cost in one visible layer. It also standardizes output and shortens the imitation cycle. That invites price comparison before legacy expense, oversight burden, and commercial overhead have fallen. The next constraint is strategic. Large incumbents may tolerate lower unit margins. because they spread fixed costs broadly or protect adjacent revenue. Smaller providers may run cleaner technology, but have less room to absorb concessions. The lowest cost producer does not automatically retain the largest margin. Retention depends on the burden left after the market learns costs have fallen. Sustainable margin rests less on hiding efficiency than on separating cost decline from value decline. A provider retains more of the gain when the offer changes a measurable business outcome, replacement creates disruption, proprietary data improves the result, or accountability remains expensive to reproduce. Even then, protection is conditional. If competitors reproduce the outcome and reduce switching friction, the premium weakens. The operating evidence appears across the contract cycle. Renewal pricing shows whether customers are claiming the savings. Discount behavior shows whether sales teams must surrender price to defend volume. Support demand shows whether the cost base has become lighter or merely shifted into less visible functions. Contribution margin matters only after shared infrastructure, oversight, and integration burden are assigned. A strong quarter can therefore conceal a weak equilibrium. Lower delivery cost may lift gross margin before renewals reset pricing, pilot support is fully allocated, and competitors quote against the new cost structure. The test is whether the spread between realized price and total cost remains stable as the market adapts. The competitive stress test is direct. What happens if a rival passes savings through faster? What happens if procurement treats automated capacity as abundant? What happens if the customer unbundles the offer and pays only for what remains differentiated? The economics hold only while retained efficiency exceeds the price reduction required to defend the account. Return to those three lines. Visible delivery cost falls first. Price follows when buyers see that the labor, scarcity, or complexity supporting the old rate has weakened. Buried fixed burden moves more slowly. The outcome is not automatic margin expansion, but a negotiation over who captures the savings. Pricing transparency changes the burden of proof. Lower cost is no longer sufficient evidence of stronger economics. The supplier must show that the remaining price rests on outcomes, integration, switching friction, or accountability that competitors cannot reproduce cheaply. At renewal, AI efficiency becomes margin only to the extent that the supplier can keep it from becoming the customer's discount.